Okay, this is part 2 of my Illuminati Combined Disasters card videos. In part 1, I showed you that the combined disasters were fire and earthquake, and I had to re-upload this. Yesterday I had a version up, but there were a few mistakes in it, and a few things I wanted to put back into it today, so it's probably going to go a little longer than I wanted, but I try to keep these around 15 minutes, but there's just a lot of information to cover here. Okay, the Combined Disasters card has a clock tower, and the clock tower that is shown here is the Ginza Waco clock tower in Japan. And if we look at the quasi-Wikipedia page here for the Combined Disasters card, they have the correct tower here, the Ginza Waco Tower in Tokyo. They have a couple other towers on here too. Big Ben, and there's a reason that Big Ben is shown on here. Big Ben plays the Westminster chimes, and I'll show you how that connects to the the Ginza Waco Tower. So the first date that we're going to look at that's associated with this card, I'm going to show you guys a few dates that are encoded into the Combined Disasters card. The Ginza Waco Clock Tower, the construction was delayed or halted due to the Great Kanto earthquake on September 1st, 1923. So this is our first date of reference I'll show you. And the second date of reference I'm going to show you is June 10th, 1954. We're going to call that Time Day, and that's the day that the Ginza Waco Tower changed to the Westminster chimes. And if we look at the history here on the Seiko website about the Ginza Waco Tower, you can see here it says Time Day was June 10th, 1954. The day the Westminster chimes went into service. And I'm going to be talking about this date again, 12/31/2019. This is 955 weeks after 9/11, and talked about this before. Back in May of 2018, I did a video about the 955 and 12/31/2019. Consider that one of my best videos. I'll leave a link in the description. It's important to watch that, get a better understanding of what's going on here. Okay, since we have a clock tower on our card here, we're going to be looking at a lot of these rituals in the context of time. And solar time is based on the position of the sun in the sky. And time is a very important factor in understanding these rituals. And the sun is also involved in these rituals, a lot of sun symbolism as well. And of course, the focus of my channel is the Revelation 8:11 Wormwood Star. And the first clue we have to the connection between the sun and wormwood in Revelation is that Revelation 8:11 is the 141st verse, and the volume of our sun is given as 1.41 times 10 to the 18th cubic kilometers, which is simply a reversal or reflection of its position in Revelation. We are told our sun is a star, and of course Revelation 8:11 is about the wormwood star. So if we look at this Great Kanto earthquake, we're going to find our first Revelation 8:11 connection. The Great Kanto earthquake was September 1st, 1923, and the 8,011th day after the earthquake, the first atomic weapon used in warfare is dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. And one of these days, I might do a video on what I really think about atomic or nuclear weapons, but for now, just consider it ritual. So there's our first clue about the reference to wormwood in Revelation, our 8,011th day after the earthquake. And of course, the bomb was dropped on Japan, and the Japanese military is represented by the rising sun flag. And August 6, 1945 was the 218th day of the year. 218 is a moon number, and in Hebrew gematria, moon has a value of 218, so we have our sun and our moon symbolism for our first atomic weapon used in warfare. And the Royal Masonic Arch always depicts the pillars, the arch, and the sun and the moon. So this is a Masonic ritual as well. And if we look at the kind of a diagram I found here on a Wikipedia page about nuclear weapons, a diagram of the primary and secondary fission for a nuclear weapon. You can see here they have a moon and a sun. It's probably no coincidence that that's displayed like that. So since we're talking about World War II here, look at Mars, the god of war, and World War II. The United States was involved for 1,365 total days, and this is 1,331 Martian days. And so we take our 1,365 times our multiplier here. You have 1,440 minutes on Earth and 1,477 minutes on Mars, so 0.9749 is our multiplier. And we get 1,330.7 days, or 1,331 days. A number I've shown from almost the beginning of my channel, 1331. In the context of time, 1331, 811 minutes. Back to our wormwood star reference and time reference. Okay. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out here, so try to keep up here, but it's all relevant and important. So if we look at the last calendar day that can represent time, that would be December 31st or 12/31, and 1,231 minutes is 2031 on our clock. So we're going to look at 12/31/2031 in relation to this December 31st, 2019 date. And it's 144 months between these dates, and 144 is the time number. 1,440 minutes in the day, and in Jewish gematria, time has a value of 144. And if we look at 12/31/2031, it's the 404th week after the second solar eclipse that forms an X over Carbondale, Illinois. And I'll get to that in a second here, those eclipses. But 404 is for the total verses in Revelation. So looking at this time day that's associated with the Ginza Waco clock tower, they changed to the Westminster chimes on 6/10/1954. So we're going to look at that in relation to 9/11/01. September 11th, 2001 was 17,260 days after Time Day. And if we convert that to lunar months, it's 584.5 lunar months. So 9/11 happened during the 585th lunar month. And if you look at Time Day in relation to this 12/31/2019 date, it's 23,945 days after Time Day, which converts to 810.9 lunar months. So December 31st, 2019 is during the 811th lunar month for our wormwood star reference. And the 585, of course, I've shown that before. Thales of Miletus is credited with beginning the study of earthquakes in 585 BC. So that's the earthquake number, the 585, and he's also the first person to accurately predict a solar eclipse on May 28th, 585 BC. So this guy is associated with earthquakes and eclipses. And as I showed before, I believe that Revelation 6:12, the verse that references the great earthquake, the last line here, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. I believe this references a solar and lunar eclipse. And I believe it's these two eclipses, the Great American Eclipse and the super blood moon that we just had. And I'll show you this 518 here. So there are 518 days between the Great American Eclipse and the super blood moon. And if we look for another 518 here, this 1231 date, 12/31/2019, to the path of the second eclipse that makes the X, which is on April 8th, 2024. That's 51 months, 8 days for another 518. And there are 346 weeks between these X eclipses. And the blood moon that we just had on January 20th and 21st, December 31st, 2019 is a 346th day after the blood moon. This 346 shows up over and over, which is a reference to the X eclipses. We're going to show you more 518s here. It's a big part of this puzzle. So let's look at the X solar eclipses. The Great American Eclipse was on August 21st, 2017, and this was part of moon lunation 1171, and that was the 218th lunation of the millennium. The path that forms the X on April 8th, 2024. This is lunation 1253, or the 300th lunation of the millennium. And if we combine those lunations, those millennium lunations, it's 518. Let's take a look here. This is lunation 1171 for the August 21st eclipse, and 1253 for the April 8th, 2024 eclipse. And another ritual behind this is that the Great American Eclipse was lunation 1171, and Trump Tower in Chicago is 1171 feet. And there are 346 weeks between the X eclipses and the Trump Tower in Vancouver. It's shown on their Wikipedia page. There's 346 parking spaces. There's no other reason to show that except for just to be part of the number ritual here. So here is the Trump Tower in Vancouver. You can see they have 346 parking spaces listed. Opened on 2/28/2017. Here's the Trump Tower, Chicago, 1171 feet. Opened on January 30th, 2009. And I'll show you the wormwood ritual for each of these. Completion, or opening of the Trump Tower in Chicago to the opening of the Trump Tower in Vancouver. 8 years, 1 month, and first day, 811, for the Revelation 811 wormwood star. Another 518 involves the singer of Soundgarden, Chris Cornell. We're told that he died on 5/18/2017. Of course, one of his most famous songs is Black Hole Sun, and that's listed as 5 minutes 18 seconds. You can see here 518. It was released on May 13th, 1994. And if we look at that date in relation to the Great American Eclipse, it was 23 years, 3 months, 9 days, and 2339 is the 346 prime for our X eclipse reference. I'm going to show you another I've shown this before, but I believe that that wormwood event is the combination of the great earthquake from Revelation 6:12 and Apollyon, the sun god, or sun and fire, from Revelation 9:11. So we have 8:11, 6:12, and 9:11. If we sum those up, it's 2,334. And the base of our pyramid is 230.34 meters, another 2334. And we're told that the current height of the Great Pyramid without its capstone is 455 feet. If we look at the number 455, its factorization is 5 times 7 times 13. That's the third, fourth, and sixth prime numbers, 346 for our X eclipse reference. A little more coding here with the wormwood star in Revelation. I'll show you the position in relation to the great earthquake in 9/11, 6/12 and 9/11. The Revelation 6:12 great earthquake, if we move 33 verses, we get to Revelation 8:11. If we move 13 more verses, we get to Revelation 9:11. And if we look at this number 3313, it's the 24th star number. So I want to take a look at the 24th letter of our alphabet, which is X, and the 24th letter of the Greek alphabet is Omega. And if we combine these two numbers, 33 and 13, we get 46, and 46 is a DNA reference for the 23 and 23 chromosomes from each parent. And we have the wormwood star as the capstone here. And on the tree of life, the capstone or the crown, also known as the ether or the aleph, represented by the planet Neptune. And the definition, or one of the definitions of ether or aleph, is to incinerate, burn, or shine, which represents the wormwood star. And the X eclipse, the second path of the 2024 eclipse, forms an X over Carbondale, Illinois, and southern Illinois is known as Little Egypt, and of course Carbondale is in southern Illinois. See if I forgot anything here. I'm going to be showing some other videos here in the near future, showing rituals to all these dates in 2019, December 20th through December 21st. Each one of these dates has a ritual associated with it. And if you want to read through this real quick, 1227 was also a big date that's I've shown before. 1227 is 9/29 on the Hebrew calendar, and in 2019 the Hebrew New Year is 9/29 or September 29th. I want to give a quick thank you to Lambda 115 for turning me on to the star numbers, and the Gematria Pioneer channel also has given me a lot of help with the moon symbolism and moon numbers. I have a lot more to show. Got some predictive programming, and I'm finally going to get to my Revelation 1919 video here shortly. A lot of great stuff in that video that I'm going to do in relationship to Wormwood and December 2019. Okay guys, thanks for watching.